Welcome to episode of Potion Sword Run. In this episode, I'm going to be talking about the Real Game Awards, Stuttering Craig, and a man named PandaSub. Those of you who have been watching my channel know that once in a while, I talk about the grifters. But I'm trying to get away from that on my channel. If you're into the grifter series, I'm going to be doing it on Frog Tony's channel for the time being, so long as he'll have me. But if you've been watching, you know that I've been critical of the Real Game Awards and how they raised all that money and what they delivered in the end, which ended up being just a video. A video that anybody else that can do, I've done before, every YouTuber has done before, and they didn't have to raise all that money. So, I called it a grift. I called Stuttering Craig a grift because of, what he laid in front of us, what he delivered on, and what he did. And who he hangs out with. That could be unfair, judging people by the friends they have. But God, the friends he has. Not all of them though, because recently there was a video popped up of him being asked a question about Grums and the Ember debacle, where he's scamming, a lot of people, raising over $600,000 for a demo that he finally delivered, but wasn't really the demo. Anyways, it's like a whole thing. But people are asking, why isn't he having people who oppose Grums on his podcast? Or, why isn't he talking about it, or, raising, hellfire for somebody that's scamming the community? And he responded by saying he didn't care, blah, blah, blah. I'll let him tell you.
Lord Botha says, why don't you bring upper echelon Treasure Dragons or McDizzle on to talk about the Ember situation, seeing they made exposed videos? Because I just don't care. I just don't care enough, because I just don't care. I just don't care enough, because I just don't care. I just don't care enough, right? That's what their channels can do. And like, once again, we're kind of shifting away from that, so, whatever.
And so I was gonna make a video, criticizing him, how can he not care? He's, he, with this platform that he has, he should be doing more. He should be, raising the bells, holding him to account. But then again, he didn't really do the same when, he covered for Tommy Tellerico. So I thought to myself, what can I expect from him? But it isn't all the people that surround him that are brainwashed. Blabs, I don't know her. I've only become aware of her recently. Is very critical of the way that Grums handled himself in the community. But at the very least, it's good to see that Stuttering Craig, has other people with opposing views on his platform.
Ask a question then.
Sure.
Do you find it lying that you would say on your Twitter bio that you are the CEO of a video game, but you're not actually, and it's been discovered and you wipe that from your bio?
I got to be honest. I don't. That's not that big of an issue to me. It's really not.
Lying about being the CEO of a company.
But hold on, Blabs. Who was the CEO?
He's his mother or something like that. His family member.
His dad. So it's not that big a deal. Like,
Well, it is.
That happens all the time, where people they have titles in companies, and they're just figurehead titles. That happens all the time. That's not.
No, to me, that's dishonest. If you're gonna raise money and you're gonna fund for a video game, you need to be as transparent as fuck.
But when these clips came up, I decided not to make a video about him, because there was one thing that he said that other people might have misconstrued, but I looked at it a little bit differently. And that's when they asked him, why isn't he talking about it? And he said it's because he just doesn't care. He just doesn't care. And people are like, well, he doesn't care? But then there's a little piece where he says, we're trying to move away from that.
Because I just don't care. I just don't care enough, right? That's what their channels can do. And like, once again, we're kind of shifting away from that. We're kind of shifting away from that. So, whatever.
And that's something that I can understand. Because although, covering the grift and covering all this stuff that just is outrageous, gets the clicks, it's tiring, And people who are creative or want to be creative don't want to cover stuff like that. They want to, create stuff that people want to come and watch because it's fun or exciting or something new. Not because they're bitching about other people's opinions. Now, I definitely don't expect him to change his content, from day to night. And I don't expect him to even get away from it that much, because at the end of the day, he does have an audience, and this is his job where, he needs to feed his family and all that stuff. So I can understand why he does the things he does, but at least he's trying. And that is where PandaSub comes in. Now, PandaSub and I are friends, YouTube friends, but still friends. If we saw each other in public, we'll be down friendly to each other, maybe have a drink and, geek out or something. So that I just want to put that out there, that I really have no ill will against them. Now, when it comes to like politics, we're definitely on different spectrums, but when it comes to him, he's more on the respectful side. So it kind of, we come together on common ground, and it is what it is. But anybody that knows him knows that he has a gripe with Hollywood in the way they do business, the type of shows they create, and the whole process. And in fact, he used to be a part of it and ended up rejecting it and doing his own thing. Now, he used to work on a lot of different type of shows, and he used to put them on YouTube. But again, he doesn't see eye to eye with YouTube, and he decided to leave for Rumble. So if you want to watch any of his shows, that's where you need to go. Now, the thing about his shows is that they're very high production. They actually look pretty awesome. He used a lot of After Effects, Photoshop and all that stuff. So, he really knows what he's doing. After all, he used to work in Hollywood doing special effects. And to this day, he's trying to work on, his own little thing where it's away from Hollywood, but still big enough that it can reach mass audience. Now, the thing is, he couldn't do it on YouTube because of the algorithm. It just didn't know where to place him. You know how YouTube works, obviously. It's hard to actually get views. And, so he just found his place on Rumble. It is what it is. But I recently started seeing him talking to Stuttering Craig on Twitter, taking pictures. And then I started seeing actual shows show up on Stuttering Craig's Sidescroller's channel. And I was like, those look like PandaSub type of shows. This guy's really picking it up. Like, what is he doing? He's actually getting away from all the grift stuff and all the culture warrior stuff. Evident by the show that we're seeing. Then I actually started connecting the dots, and he just came out and asked PandaSub if he was part of the side-scrolling team. And sure enough, he is. It turns out he's the director of content and tech over at Sidescrollers, which I thought was pretty awesome for him, because he's worked hard to actually get these type of shows in front of a larger audience. And if Sidescrollers can help him do that, then, I couldn't be more happier for him.
Take the low road this time,
It's
Bugs.
like watching a mentally handicated person trying to cross a highway.
Thanks,
It's
man.
In 2003, Tom Cruise jumped on Oprah Winfrey's couch. Yes, Des.
I know this. Katie Holmes.
Katie Holmes is correct. Yes, 300 points
Yes.
for
I got
sweet,
the
sweet
points.
Des.
She's on the board. She is so
What a
back.
loser.
Hey, you know what, Des? Just for your great enthusiasm, here's an extra point right there.
Oh,
Right-
thank
right
you.
there. There you go. Who is the author of the novel Fight Club?
One of my favorite movies.
But is it one of your favorite books?
No, I don't read books. No, I don't read books. No, I don't read books.
Which leads me to the Real Game Awards. Now, I was very critical of what they delivered last time, especially with the money that they raised. But now, with PandaSub on part of their team, I won't doubt that the show is at least gonna look awesome the next time around. Now, I don't know if it's gonna be live, I don't know if it's gonna be held in an actual place, but if you can actually put more production into it and actually make it like an actual fun interactive show like PandaSub likes to do with his type of shows, then at least that's something, something more than what anybody else out there is giving you on YouTube. So in the end, I guess I wish them luck now that PandaSub is on their team, because I can see that they're actually trying. They're bringing in talent to make their product better. Now, I don't know if PandaSub is being paid. It's really none of my business. I didn't ask him. I know that PandaSub isn't really into making these shows or all that. He's not into just the money. Sure, he needs to survive and live, and everybody has their needs. But PandaSub does this for the passion, and you can actually see it in his work. So in the end, I just want to give everybody like a heads up that it's going to be much more harder to criticize the product that's going to come out next time the Real Game Awards premieres. I don't know what it's going to be. I have no inside scoop. I'm not going to ask. I'm not going to pry, let them do what they're going to do. I'm just happy for him, and I hope that with this and him being part of that crew, he gets more recognition and a better following, and maybe he comes back to YouTube and gets the subs that he deserves. And if it does work out, and if it does grow, it's good to see that he's doing it the right way, by standing by his morals, by producing shows that are not part of culture wars or stuff like that, not putting other people down like some people had to do to rise and get subs and stuff. But we're trying to get away from all that too. Anyways, I'm gonna leave it right there. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Always remember to enjoy your life and be kind to yourself, and I'll see you right there. Peace. Potion Sword Run, Potion Sword Run, reality cats and games and we're having some fun. Potion Sword Run, Potion Sword Run, reality cats and games and we're having some fun.